have no control. I better put this one back up. If you're here for data cleanup part 2, you are in the right place. We're going to start in 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. That is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And just in case there wasn't enough energy for part 1, I brought my adaptogen botanical energy drink that only has 10 calories and less than 1 gram of sugar.
I feel like you had enough energy before the drink, but you
I really like these mixed with vodka, but as you saw, I just opened this fresh. There's no vodka. Well, I mean, there's lots of room down here, isn't there? I had giveaways down here I forgot all about. Anybody that was here in session 1, I apologize. We had giveaways. It looks like session 2 forgot they had giveaways. Now we're in session 3 and there's more giveaways. So if you don't leave here with something today, it's your own fault. Sunset 1 through 3 at 10. 11:15 and 2. Ooh, there's some good stuff too. We got some HawkSoft.
Wow.
I didn't come up with it. It's been like 4 years now they've had HawkSoft. I don't have these ones. Those are kind of cute. Blue polka dot. We have HawkSoft snapback and sunglasses. Are they all the same? Well, that's the same. Nope. My favorite HawkSoft hat, the gray one. That's my favorite. I got one of those in Seattle a couple weeks ago. What? Woo! There's going to be some happy housekeepers today. You're going to see housekeeping running around with HawkSoft glasses on later. All right, if I forget, I'm going to put these here so somebody like 10 minutes in just scream, "It's time for a giveaway." We're going to stop what we're doing, no matter what it is. We're going to stop and we're going to pick some prizes. All right? We're ready. We're going to get rid of 3 sessions worth of stuff. Set a timer. Well, I'm not going to set a timer because I won't pay attention. Congratulations, you found a seat.
I did. It was really hard.
I know. It's filling up fast. Online might be about sold out, but we're still okay for live. All right, let's make sure I have my database open. I do. All right. And I have my cheat sheets ready to go this time, so that's helpful compared to the last class when I was like, what are we doing next? Anyone? All right, it is 2:01 and it is time to start the fun-filled adventure we are going to call Data Cleanup Basic Maintenance Part 2. That means 2. Do. If I could speak any other foreign languages, we could present it in multiple languages, but I can't, so you get English. Help keep our extended HawkSoft family safe. Please wear a mask indoors and during this session. This was a required slide from the HawkSoft National Conference. There you go, I included it. My name is Stephen Harrington Dakota. Dakota. D-E-S-C-O-T-E-A-U-X. It took me, I think I told everybody last time, it took me about 4 years to remember how to spell that one. It was a tough one. And now it's a very long hyphenated name that I giggled that I want to see them put it on my driver's license and social security card, which will be coming in the next couple of weeks. We are going to talk about data part 2. For those of you that don't know, I am the Chief Operations Officer at beautiful Cross Insurance on the West Coast, not to be confused with the Cross Insurance on the East Coast. There's 2 Cross Insurances. We're both large. West Coast is the best coast. East Coast is still there. And anybody from the East Coast, I still love you dearly. And if you ever want to fly me out to visit you, I'm happy to attend and get a second opinion. I also work with Diva of Insurance, which is my consulting agency, and we do database management and cleanup and management training. So, imagine that. You get me, a certified insurance counselor, as your instructor today. Most people, you say you're a certified insurance counselor, they don't know what that is, but I'm hoping most of you fine people in the insurance class know what a certified insurance counselor is. It was a whole lot of essay tests is all I know. And with Zoom, you can't sleep in the back of the room. You got to answer a question that says, yes, I'm still attending every 7.5 minutes. Important notice. Guess what? This is just some ideas. Do it, don't do it, be safe, make your own life choices. I'm not here to guide you. I can tell you that you should probably read the directions and watch the live together. They kind of complement each other. We may not cover everything. We may cover more than what's here. You never know what's going to happen. It's a live class. Please remember that if you change any information in your database, to run a complete backup first. Do not start changing things without a fresh backup. Bad things happen. It can cause a large amount of time and money to correct. That's my favorite bill. If you need your database fixed, it can cost a whole lot of time and money, something you don't want to pay. So while we would love to tell you anything and everything you need to do, please just do things smartly. If you don't know what you're doing, stop and ask for help or find somebody that can help you. HawkSoft Help Desk is happy to be your friend. I told a story earlier. I think the HawkSoft Help Desk, that people sit in these little rooms and they almost cry, and then the phone rings and they get so excited. They're like, yes, I have a new friend. And they want to help you solve all your problems that have to do with database management, not your personal life. So there you go. Contact HawkSoft if you need more help with that. Also, this information was taken from many different places. I took it from HawkSoft, other guides, the Hug user group, online, Google, wherever we could find it. So if something looks familiar, I found a slide that might have had a link for something in it earlier, but it wasn't mine. I don't know. I put it together from multiple sources. So today we are going to cover, we did agency intelligence earlier, and we're going to keep doing agency intelligence. But we did the client status, we did actually get taken care of earlier today. We are going to look at the client and policy source, application type, agent 1, 2, and 3, customers with no last name, customers with no phone number, customers with no email, linking profiles to emails and phone numbers, and important dates in HawkSoft. What? I know. Important dates. Who knew there was important dates in HawkSoft? So, why is this guy so happy? Is his broom his best friend? His dad is getting better, so he has more time to spend with his broom. That's the face of pain from the Lego he just stepped on. Or his dad is clean, his house is clean, and his spouse is happy about both. I don't think my spouse cares if the dad is clean, but I'm the one that's normally like, you don't know HawkSoft, try this guide. And if he gets stuck, then I have to fix it. So, he's learning HawkSoft, I guess. So we don't know. I actually included this slide in 3 presentations, and they change every time. So if you come to the next 2, hopefully it's still there. Client status if needed. Those that do and those that don't. We covered it. We talked about it. We had it in part 1. So we're moving along. Client info versus general policy info. As a general refresher, I have to say this over and over and over and over because I still have employees that have been with us for 10 years that don't understand client info versus general policy info. Client info is anything at the top of the screen. It controls the entire file, not a specific policy. We have insured's name, first and last. Business name, business doing business as name. Mailing address for address, city, state, and zip, a physical address of the client. Phone fields, email fields, active policy count, active policy premium, client type, customer type, client status, client office, client source, client producer, and client CSR. That's all at the top level It doesn't matter what policies are there, that is controlled by the folder itself. Then, general policy information is controlled at the individual policy level. So this could be different for the same client. We could have Tom Smith, and on all 4 of his policies, all this information could be different. Agent 1, Agent 2, Agent 3, the company's program, the application type, the line of business, annual premium, status and substatus, the status date, the expiration date, the policy title, policy state, policy office, policy source, policy type base, and policy form. So I like to bring up the 2 different office types. We have the client office and we have the policy office. If you only have 1 location, chances are you don't use those at all. That's great. We at one point had 6 locations. So we had 6 listed in HawkSoft, plus every time we did a merger, we would put them in as an additional location until we could figure out what was happening with the book, make sure all the downloads came in, then we'd roll it into whatever we wanted. We also have a very large book of non-standard auto. Bless the heart of the person that services the non-standard auto book of business. Not my cup of tea. But it was affecting our retention for the entire agency. We know that non-standard clients, they come and they go. We charge an agency fee for that. I don't care what the retention is. We make all of our money at the very beginning on an agency fee. Some states don't allow that. I'm not recommending it. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you what I do in Washington. So we created a 7th policy, or a 7th office, which was our non-standard book of business. It wasn't a physical location. It was like called something like non-standard book of business, like NSBB, non-standard book of business. And we put all of those clients or all of those policies into that office so we could then take that out of our retention for the other locations, and we could see how well that book really performed over a period of time. The nice thing about that was the client, if they had a preferred home, the client office might have been Tacoma. The home office might have been Tacoma, but the non-standard auto office was non-standard book of business. So we could run reports either at the client office or we could run them at the policy office. We used the policy office because we were targeting customers by policy, and that's how we did that. So it gives you some different ways to think about using policy office or client office. We have another agency I work with. They do a lot of health insurance. So they have all of their standard clients, personal lines are all in one office. All of the health is in a separate office altogether. They have a different client file for each life policy or each health policy, and they link them back together. But office number 2 at both the client level and the policy level match. So they make sure all the personal lines are location 1 at both levels. All the life and health is at location 2 for both levels. So they can run different reports and they can look at things different ways. So do it however you want. Just make sure you do it the same every time. Client and policy source. This is a roller coaster. So you can get a client. How can you get a client? Anyone? Anyone? A referral? That's a good one. Google. They always say, found you on Google. I saw your bus driving down the street with the sign on the side. I don't know. So you can get a client from a referral, and you might just write their home. So client source would be referral. Policy source, referral. 3 months later, you do an email marketing campaign through one of our fabulous third-party vendors that are in the showroom. Please go visit them. And you write another policy. What would the source be? Cross-sell. Or it could be email campaign or XYZ or whatever you did. I wouldn't necessarily change the client source or the source of the first policy, but you can have different sources for each policy depending on how they came about. That's also a great way to track your cross-selling or what's really working for your agency is how are you getting the new business all together? We use like REL for realtor. Then if we get like 9 or 10 clients all from the same person, we do RLT dash and then the last name of the realtor. So now we know that all these customers came from that specific realtor, or we could just say all these came from realtors in general. Then each policy, we might only write the home. But then we go back 6 months later, and we write the auto. The auto would be a cross-sell or whatever campaign we were doing at the time. Different ways to look at it. So we are, again, cleaning the database using agency intelligence. This is only cleaning active information. I cannot stress that enough. Only active information. Advanced reports, which we're going to do tomorrow, that will clean everything. From day one to the end of time, it will clean everything. Right now, we're only looking at what is on the surface and active. So when we are talking about client and policy source, I'm going to switch now by stopping this beautiful slideshow. Maybe. If it wants to unfreeze. Or I could just get really mad. Oh my goodness, guys, it's time for a giveaway. Perfect timing. Good job. Like literally, it is frozen. All right, you got a prize. Good job. You want sunglasses, a hat, or socks? Sunglasses, perfect. We'll get them to you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Giveaway? Giveaway? First person with their hand up? No, it's frozen. But it's me. It's me. Oh, I didn't see. Look, 3 of you, I think, won. See me after for your prize. Thank you. That's exactly what I needed. Thank you. Hey. Wait, what were we talking about again? Sources. Thank you. All right, so we are going to go to reports and agency intelligence. Again, there is all kinds of reports you can run in HawkSoft. Please learn reports. It tells you what your agency is doing or not doing, and it's very helpful. Agency intelligence, though, is what we're teaching you right now. So we're going to open our agency intelligence report very slowly. And we are going to start at the customer level. The only options we have here are office, producer, CSR, or none. So, because we're looking for source, client source, we're going to click none. Simple enough. We have 127 customers and 141 policies. If the finger points, you can click on it. If it's an arrow, you cannot. So we are going to click on customer twice. And a new report's going to open. Now, when we're looking here, we're looking for the client source. And it's not listed. Does anybody remember the trick from the first class? We go to Layout. And we add Edit. And we pick customer source or client source. If I can see without my glasses. It's so small. Okay. Thank you. And we click Finish, and it reruns the report, and we scroll to the end, and look at that. C source, that means client source. Now, I don't want to look at 127 different things individually, so I'm going to go to Summary, and I'm going to match the title at the top, the C-source, over here. I'm going to click OK. And it's going to tell me what the source is for all of my policies right here in an aggregate area. So I can see I have 2 website, 2 walk-in, 3 referrals, 1 Google, 1 Facebook, 1 email campaign, 1 cross-sell, and 116 mystery souls. Those 116 people, I'm going to guess, was from an I Did That Chamber event. You know, chamber events, Rotary, all those things we do, and all the business they bring in. I think that's where that all came from. But we can have a couple clues here. With the blank, we can double click on the 116, and it'll open all these client files. We can click on the very first one, and we can actually go to the different policy tabs and look to see if there's a source there. There's no source. There's no source. All right, it's a mystery. We can read log notes. We can try to find the source. We can do all kinds of things. One of the things that some agencies do is they pick a start date, and they put a one-time source code in of like pre-HawkSoft tracking. And they put that in. And then they know at least that, you know, as of December 1st of 2021, we started tracking all of our customers and policy sources. Before then, we know it was messy, but we're not going to go back through 20,000 files and find the source. But it still is filled in, so when you get the blank, you know it was a problem. You aren't having to go through it every single time going, okay. And you can make up whatever you want. You could call it tiddlywinks. You could say, ooh, we don't know. It could be unknown, lost soul, anything you want. You can change those. But to change the source, we can either do each one individually through internal change, which I hate internal change, but it's the fastest way to get it done. Pick one of the sources and finish, then OK, and finish or done, either one. Good question earlier. Can we do, which one do we do? You do you, your choice. And we now have a source. Right here, Facebook. That's at the client level. That's on the client tab, client level. I would also recommend if you're already in there, you might as well click on the policy level and fix that at the same time. So you can do these one at a time. You can click on one, you can click on the next. You can use the down arrow to go to the next one, next one, next one. Anytime you're in a report and it is pulling from the report, the up and down arrows up at the top actually take it to the next entry in the report. A lot of people like go click back and then click back and click back. You can go up and down, up and down. The other thing you can do is a batch change. If you know that 50 of those all came from the same place, you can call HawkSoft. Help desk again, they're waiting for your phone calls. Operators are standing by, waiting to answer your burning questions about HawkSoft. And they'll help you do a batch replace or data replace, where you could say, I know these 50 policies all came from Chamber. Can you fix it? And they'll show you how to do that. I do not show you how to do that at basic beginning. We talk about that tomorrow when we talk about more advanced. I only batch replace most of the time because it'll override other things and not pull up other errors that you also have to fix, but we're not doing that right now. The other thing we can do is go back. Once we've done that, we're going to freshen the indexes. To freshen the indexes, we go back to our HawkSoft home screen. We go to the toolbox, we click on File Maintenance, Freshen Indexes, and it flies right through when you're on a test database that only has 140 entries in it. Then you hit Close, and you can go back and rerun that same report, or you can just click Refresh on Agency Intelligence, and it'll update the number, whatever that might be. So we've now looked at the customer source. We're now going to look at policy source. So we're going to look at the individual policies. For this one, we're going to click on Policies in Force. And under Group By, guess what? It's an option, guys. Hello. So we have Allentown, BOR, cross-sell, EC. Ooh, must be existing customer. Existing. I see some batch replacements in the future here. Google, none. I hate none, never use none. Referral mouth, referral, I did not come up with some of these. Referral CL client, referral friend family, referral mortgage lender, referral PL client, rewrite, spin-off, walk-in, website, whatever floats your boat. There's 100 different ways to do it. There's lists available in the HawkSoft user group, or go through your database and see what you're already using and kind of clean it up from there. But here we have 108 policies with no source. We're going to go ahead, double-click that 108. New report opens up. And here's where it gets tricky yet fun. We can go back to layout and add back in that client source. And hit finish. It's going to rerun that report. We know none of these have a policy source, but we can now go in and batch by going to Summary, See Source. And look at this. We have a little bit of a better idea of where some of these clients came from. So we can now go into each section individually, and we can change the source of the policy to match the source here. we're going to general policy information. Sorry, it's hard to see it first on my lovely computer here. And this was a referral. Finish. Okay. And finish. Finish. And we now have a client source, and we now have a policy source.
Is there any way to cross them from the client source where you, to see what it should be, to make it easier to do a batch?
Yes, so actually, yeah, that's a very good question. The question was, is there a way to go from the client source and know like what to batch for the policy source? You can actually, from this report, because this is the client source right here, we can pick any one of these, and if there's more than one entry, we would be able to, this one was Facebook. We could go in and batch replace at the policy level to Facebook for those specific policies. Does that make sense? Yeah, you don't have to, and then you could go to the next one. I mean, you have to go through each one individually, but if you have a large number of them, you don't have to do one by one by one. You can batch replace back and forth using a little bit of theory there. The other 100, again, we get to decide what we're going to do with Lost Soul, mariachi band, I don't know, wherever it came from, the Mexican restaurant, happy hour, Taco Tuesday. I must be getting hungry. Do we have lunch? We had lunch. We had the bacon inside that turkey wrap was delicious. I will say that was some good bacon. All right. We are going to move on. Questions before we move on about sources. Client source, policy source, we're golden. We're all going to go back, fix our sources, create a master list, share it with the whole agency, clean up the database, delete all the old ones so they can't use them anymore, and force them to use them in the future, right? Secret tip. In your settings, you can go to General Configuration. This is not in your workbooks, by the way. Required fields, and you can make just about anything you want a required field. So you can make it a warning, or you can make it required. So here, we can make source a required field. Then under general policy information, same thing. They will not be able to move forward without a source if it's a required field. Yes?
Is there a way to remove none as an option? So I know for a while there hasn't been.
Unfortunately, HawkSoft thinks it's an amazing idea to have a default that you cannot delete called none. So you cannot delete none as a source. If you look at our source guide in our agency, it says none. Do not use this. Call a manager first. If I found out you used it, we'll have a one-on-one. I can tell you after, I am so sweet. I am the sweetest person you're ever going to know. I think only one of my employees is watching, maybe. Shh. I'm super sweet. You know, you see me in the trade show. You say, I am the nicest person. Till I got to clean up your crap more than twice. Then I am not a very nice person. So I love training. I love one-on-ones. I think they're very beneficial. Normally they're very positive. But sometimes we have to resort to training on what does the list say? Can you show me where your source list is? I know you have it printed on your desk, probably laminated somewhere, because you love paper all over the place. Or it's in the Teams channel called HawkSoft Guides or Procedures. I mean, it's in like 9 different locations. So they've gotten really good. They use the source. They use the correct ones most of the time. None, whenever I see it, is just an automatic red flag. I stop, I open it, and I pick up the phone, and I'm like, hey, can you share a screen with me? Let's take a look. Why are we using none? Like, where did it really come from? This was the tip that I forgot to include, so there you go. Yep, so you can actually force it. The only thing I don't love is when I go into a file to do something and it's not my file, and I don't know what the source is. I have to pick something because it's a required field. But I don't pick none, no. I look and I try to look at the other policies and I try to figure it out. Normally it's at the policy level that the source is missing. So we're pretty good there. But you can do it for just about anything. Customer type, source, business type, CSR producer, email. I caution a little bit against requiring an email. I would have it worn. But if somebody doesn't have an email, they tend to put in like none@none.com or she don't have one @gmail.com. And what happens when you're trying to merge with your third-party vendors, and we're going to look at this in a few minutes when we get to emails, is then it tries to send emails to all those email addresses. And when the server sends 100 emails to none@none.com, you actually get flagged as spam. Because the server, your internet, your ISP provider, is going to be like, why are they trying to send so many emails to the same person? So some agents are like, but we always use that. And I'm like, do you integrate with anybody? Well, no. All right, then you might be okay till you one day decide to. Or somebody attends one of these lovely conventions. They're like, I love batch email. And they do it out of your system themselves and get you blacklisted and everything starts going to spam. Including ID cards, applications, and other important information that you actually need the client to get. So, caution. But yeah, you can make any one of these fields is available. The new ones that are always required is office, company, state, effective date, status date, inception date, application type, and line of business. But it's only required once you issue the policy, once you make it active. It's not required for prospect or lead policies. So this is a newer feature that I don't know when it came out. I'm guessing probably 5.0 is when they started actually requiring these specific fields. And it was because that was the agent's biggest pain point. They kept going, well, we should probably have an effective date if we're issuing a policy. Might make sense. So there you go. That is up in your, again, we were in the settings, general configuration, and required fields. So we went off on a bit of a tangent there, but I think we have enough time. We're okay. Next up. Ooh, look at that. Client and general policy information. Well, you can see the whole slideshow, can't you? Hey. Application type, we're going to talk about next. And again, we're cleaning from agency intelligence, so we're only cleaning active data. We're not going back to the beginning of time and fixing it for all mankind. Cleaning what's currently active in the database. So we're going to go back and look at application type. We're going to close out all of these magical reports that we already had because we're getting way too deep. Source. And for application type, we can go back to policies, enforce, and guess what? Application type's there. Who doesn't love it? So here's where we get a little wild. We have other. Other to me is, some agencies have a very valid reason for using other. My agency does not. I mean, sometimes it's that wacky line of business that HawkSoft doesn't have. I want to say like Medicare supplement doesn't have an actual like box it squeezes into. So some agencies use other. So I can go here to other. I can click on the number 2. And I can now see, ooh, last name Larry. Larry, you're always a problem. And he has a Toyota registration. Who knew? So here we have other, and it looks like an annuity and a yacht. Stop it. How do you get an annuity and a yacht at the same policy at the same time? I'm like, all I know is I want this agent. Who is this? Ooh, HawkSoft. Ha is the agent. Hey, ha. Or ADM, administrator. So this is a flag for me. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go to attachments. I'm going to look at whatever I can find. Oh, look, Stephen Harrington, that naughty boy, went in and added something at some point and changed it. But we can go in, we can change it to whatever it needs to be by internal change, however we want to get to it, general policy information. And up here where it says application type, we can pick the correct thing. So is it life? Is it personal? I mean, it's kind of both if it's an annuity and a yacht. I'm going to guess we should probably have 2 separate tabs, one for the yacht and one for the annuity, but maybe the annuity is funding the yacht payment. I don't know. People do strange things with their money. And if it was always your dream, some agent here can make it happen. So we can go in, we'll change that to life as the application type. We're going to get rid of yacht altogether because to me that just says that's bad. We click on the little setting and delete line of business. Now we just have that beautiful annuity. We have the policy title of annuity because we're using the default policy title, and we're clicking finish. And done or finish, either one, and okay. And now we have an annuity. The line of business is annuity. We're golden. Questions so far?
Where'd the yacht go?
Oh, we need to action internal, insert policy. We're going to go with boat, and we're going to print a receipt. And then we could enter that policy in, thank you. Yes, we could enter that in if it truly needed to be done. I didn't have any documentation about a yacht. I'm going to have to reach out to the agent that wrote that and do a little more investigating before we enter the policy. Cancel. All right, so we did that one. We're going to go in and do Ken's Espresso as well. This says Ken has a farmland mutual policy that's for truckers. I'm guessing an espresso stand is probably not a trucker. I'm going to go to my attachments. I'm going to dig a little deeper, or I'm going to call Stephen and find out why he put it in that way. Thank you, Diva. Or I'm going to go in and fix it if I can find out what it is. In this case, I'm guessing it's a BOP, a general liability, something of the type. We're going to go to general policy information. Application type is going to be commercial. And we're going to change this to the option is not there. So it's a business auto. This is a business auto. Perfect. Love it. Commercial business auto. Auto B is the policy tab. Finish, okay. Done and okay again, and 3 more times. We're going to spin around. We're then going to go in and freshen our indexes again. Toolbox, freshen, yes. Ooh, it's taking longer. It must be cleaning something this time. All right. Close. We can go back then here to where it said other. This is our original report. We're going to click refresh, and the other's now gone. So we fixed the problem. The other thing that would really stand out is if you don't do life insurance, you should probably investigate why there's 3 life policies. If you don't do ag, why do you have an ag policy? That kind of thing. I mean, anything that doesn't make sense, double-click it, find out what it is, and find out why. So Joseph Brothers Farm is an ag policy. It's an ag package. It all makes sense. Done, done, done. Done correctly. And that is application type. We good? Everybody starting to fall asleep? How many giveaways did we give? 4? Y'all remember who you were, right? So when you come up and fight later, I'm literally going to dump it on the table and run. Just saying. We're going to stop recording, so there's going to be no evidence of what happened. We're going to rewind it where I said I was going to do that. We're going to delete that off the live version. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about Agent 1, 2, and 3. Agent 1, 2, and 3, there's different reasons to use them. Some agencies don't use producer. Some agencies don't use CSR. Some agencies don't use agent. Some agencies use all 3 agent and not producer CSR. Some use producer CSR and only agent 2. I don't know why you wouldn't just use 1. I've seen some strange things in my time. But however your agency is using it, make sure it's consistent. That is the only caution I have. You can use it for whatever you want to use it for, as long as it's consistent. So one of the things you could use agent number 1 for is the person that wrote the policy. You might have the producer field might be somebody that's no longer with the agency, but you want to know that forever and ever, Timmy wrote that account way back when. CSR might be the person that actually services the account. And maybe you have somebody working on a special project. They're a newer agent. They're learning about umbrellas, and they're calling every customer that's pre-qualified for an umbrella, and they're writing umbrellas. They could be agent 1 because they wrote the policy. But then you need to make sure that every time agent 1 is used, it would be for whoever wrote the policy. You don't want to use it for 4 different things because then you're never going to know what agent 1 really was. Some people use agent 2 for commission tracking. They pay commission on the policy when it's written or at a renewal. They don't pay it on the entire account. They only pay it on the specific policy. So they could use agent 2 for that. Agent 1 could be who wrote it or services it. Agent 2 could be for commission tracking. Sometimes you have commission splits, so they use agent 2 and agent 3, and agent 2 and agent 3 get a different portion of a commission. Another valid reason to use all 3, agent 1, 2, and 3, or only use agent 1. Don't use any of them, only use agent 3. Again, whatever you do that works for your agency, do it the same every time. So we're going to go into our report again, and we are going to go back to the Agency Intelligence Report. I'm going to be so tired of the word agency intelligence by the end of today. And we're going to go back by policies in force under policy KPIs, and we are going to select, can anybody guess? Agent 1! Ding, ding, ding. And we can click it one time, and it'll sort all in a lovely order. We have so many amazing agents here. We have Jose, we have Jeff, we have Kelly, we have Larry, we have Leo, we have Maya Test. I was drinking wine one night when I came up with that one. And I could not stop giggling on the couch. I was like, ah. And then I created her as a dummy client, and it got even worse from there. And then I was recording training videos using Maya Test, and I'm like, oh, Maya, you're testing me. Anyways, then we have Naomi Rodriguez, Sarah, all these different people. We can see they're all there. Ooh, somebody got a $sign in their name. Go Warren. Go Warren. Anyways, this is HawkSoft user group. We all share a test database, so weird things happening here all the time. We can go to under Agent 1 to the blank and click on number of policies, and it's going to open up all the policies that do not have an Agent 1 assigned. Now, one of the things we could look for, depending on how we use Agent 1, is we could look at the producer or the CSR to try to get a better idea as to who Agent 1 should be. Or we're going to have to go into each individual policy, see who had attached apps and put log notes and whatever happened, and we can make an educated choice as to who the Agent 1 is going to be. Agent 1 in our agency is who we pay, who wrote the policy and who we pay the incentive to for issuing a policy. They now know if they don't put their initials in Agent 1, I put my initials in Agent 1 because I don't write business, but I love incentives, so just saying. Sometimes getting a lovely incentive check. No, I normally let them know that they need to fill it in. We'd go over it several times, and I always feel guilty for the 3rd time, and then I don't. But we just look. So again, we can summarize by CSR, try to get a better idea just like we did with source. We can batch by producer, or we can go through each individual one and try to look at who put log notes in. Okay, it was DOI. I'm going to go ahead and assign this to DOI as Agent 1 under General Policy Information. And then while I'm in here, I can see there's all kinds of other errors, and I should probably slow down and take the time to fix the program and the source and the everything else that's wrong. Click finish, done, and it's then going to assign Agent 1 to that, and I fixed a whole bunch of other problems I saw while I was already in there. The nice thing about batch replace, which we'll talk about tomorrow, is whenever you batch replace things, it skips all the rules. So you could have an invalid company, you don't have a source, you have all these required things. When you batch replace, it's like, I can override all that and just, I didn't see it. When I'm in other people's database, I don't want to, I'm like, oh, you want me to find out who 400 policies belong to? All right. Or I can fix everything else and say, okay, now you need to go in and find these 400 people. Who do these belong to? So there we have agent 1. Same theory for agent 2 and agent 3 if you use it. Going back to the report, we can select agent 2. In this case, we don't use agent 2, so good, they're all blank. If there was a number there, we should investigate why. And then agent 3. And under agent 3, Audra. I don't know who Audra is. She might be a HawkSoft employee. She might be another agent. We don't know. But guess what? She's agent number 3. Now I have to go into Jeffrey Joseph Brothers Farms. And I need to go in. And I'm going to enter. Ooh, I was trying to do an accord form. Internal change. General policy information. And I'm going to delete agent number 3. Back to blank by clicking the very top. There's a blank at the very top. It doesn't say blank. It doesn't say 0. You have to scroll to the very top and pick that blank little line. Right there. Then we're going to click finish. And done and okay and okay and done. I think it should just know when you're done. Like it should be like, okay, I'm assuming you're done now. But no, you need to tell me 3 more times. All right, then we can refresh our database, freshen index. Are you catching on? Every time we do something, we should freshen our index, then double check our work.
But as a general rule, how often should you weekly refresh it or?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we refresh it once a day at least. So like after hours, we have somebody that works till like 6. We close at 5:30. We make sure everybody's out the system, and then the VA freshens the indexes at night or in the middle of the night. Sometimes over the weekend, I do it because I do a lot of reporting and cleaning and monitoring. So every time I do that, I'm refreshing it. We're hosted locally. So we have our own servers, so it takes 27 minutes every time I refresh our database. So we try not to do, like, when I do cleanup, I try to strategically do it so that I can be like, oh, I'm going to go cook dinner now while this is refreshing, and then I'll be back. But most of the time, like you saw, it takes just a couple of minutes to refresh the database.
Can you refresh it with everybody on it?
HawkSoft recommends that all users be exited out of the system before refreshing the database. So no, I can tell you, 80% of the time it does nothing when other people are in the database. 20% of the time it erases all their suspenses or freezes their session, and they all freak out, and your phone starts ringing off the hook, and they're like, oh, my suspenses are gone, and I need to finish my work. Then you have to be like, okay, can everybody log out of the system? Message me when you're logged out. Don't hit the X. Log out. We refresh it again, all 27 minutes long at our agency. So then the agency's like, it's a party. I get a 30-minute break. I think sometimes they run it themselves just so they get a break. No, I'm kidding. They really don't. But it's something that, yes, exactly. It can corrupt suspenses, or sometimes it will like remove clients randomly, like a policy will go missing. And then you refresh it twice and it comes back, not once. Sometimes you have to refresh it 2 or 3 times in a row. So Beth was saying that sometimes they have one of the complaints, like an agent will call me like, I've closed the suspense 3 days in a row now. And it keeps showing up. You have to freshen the indexes, and then normally they go away. So good point. But make sure you regularly just get into practice whatever works for your agency. If you're 2 or 3 people, probably doesn't need to be done quite as much as if you have 100 people in your office. I mean, if you have a large agency, you should probably be freshening that after hours every day, making sure it's always current. But we're going to close that and get back on track because we were talking about agent number 3. We're going to go back to our agency intelligence report, click refresh, and she's gone. It's clean. Happy times. What's next? I'm so excited. I don't even know what's next. I feel like I should go back into presentation mode and keep it suspenseful. Ooh, we're going to be back on slide 1. What? All right, I mean, we went too far. Agent 1, 2, and 3, perfect. So missing info, what's missing? Why is it missing? Do you not have a procedure in place? Does somebody not know why it should be in there, or we don't require them to put it there? Do we not give them the information they need? Or is it they just aren't doing it? I mean, we don't know what we don't know. So if something's missing, we should probably figure out why and come up with a procedure or process, train everybody, run reports frequently to monitor the progress, train as needed, because we all have hours upon hours of free time every day to write procedures and train, I know. But why is it missing? The other thing we want to look at is phone numbers, missing emails, all that kind of fun stuff. We're going to rush through a couple of slides because it was just reminders on how to save a report, how to open a saved report, how to delete a saved report. And we're going to go to customers with no last name. Why would a last name be important in a client file? Y'all laugh. We have commercial clients that now contact when is required. And what do? We put Tom, because Tom's the contact at B&B Auto Sales. We don't put Tom's last name in the system, so when we go to do a data merge or something with fields that require the last name, it says Tom blank. Thanks, Tom. Makes it a little hard to match in the future. So what we're going to do is go back. We're going to look at the names in HawkSoft. So going back into our agency intelligence, we're going to click back on customers and the number 127, which is our number of customers. Here we're going to go and we can click on last and look at that. Somebody's last name is 253-999-2323. Do you think Jesse's going to be really excited when he or she, because we don't have any other information than Jesse, get something in the mail that says Jesse with their phone number as their last name? Do you think they're going to be like, I have the most competent agent ever. I trust him with all my money and my insurance? Or are they going to call you and be like, I got this letter from you, and my phone number was my last name. I didn't want the mail lady to have it. Now she calls all the time. You know. And this one, again, is blank. So we can go in, we can try to get the information, we can correct it. I'm going to open Jesse with the phone number as an example. Jesse has an auto policy. If this was real, we would probably have a client profile in there with Jesse's last name. We could pull it from the auto profile. We could pull it from an application. We can pull it from just about anywhere and go in and update that last name. Oh, it's Ms. Ms. We know it's a her. Ms. At least we put that in there. Hey. So we're going to change the policy. We're going to go in. We're going to delete Jesse by double-clicking. We're going to delete that phone number. And guess what? You know what's funny is we don't have that phone number over here for some reason. I'm guessing that that's probably her cell phone number. I might have been drinking while coming up with 723 email addresses as well. Drinking water. Jesse's Girl at 8675309.com. You got to entertain yourself when you're creating long Excel lists with random fake information that cannot go to a real person no matter how hard you want it to. So, there you go. We're then going to put in Jesse's last name. Jesse's last name is Girl, according to her email address. Thank you, Jesse's Girl. Finish. Okay. Done. And okay. And looky there, we now have a correct name in the system. Once we go back and freshen the index, that'll go away, and it'll say Jesse's girl. Same thing by clicking on the blank one with the last name. We can put in Ashley's last name. Ashley looks like, it could be Selby. We can look further into the file, find the answer. We're just trying to do a little bit of investigating. Then we have no email address, no phone, no email. So we're going to run out of time, so we're just going to kind of look quickly, and then we can finish tomorrow if we need to. Customers with no phone, similar theory. We're going to go into agency intelligence. I'm going to close all of these extra reports I have open. At the customer level, click that 127. It's going to open up. I'm going to scroll all the way over. But wait, there's no phone numbers. I know. I'll go to layout, and I'll add phone number fields. So we can do a lot of different things. We can pick primary phone number. We can pick primary, home, work, cell, message, contact 1, contact 2. We can pick all kinds of things. I mean, we can have like 30 different phone fields wide. I'm going to assume that the database is clean and been assigned to things, and we're going to pick primary phone, primary contacts. And then for the sake of saving time, I'm going to do the same thing for email. So we're going to click OK and finish. New report's going to run. And at the very end of that report, once we scroll over, will be a list of phone numbers and emails. So we can do a couple different things. What I love to do in phone numbers is just look through and make sure it really looks like it's probably a phone number. Sometimes you end up with email addresses in the phone number field. Sometimes you end up with phone numbers in the email field. All these look pretty valid. I'll click it one more time. It's going to bring all the blank ones up to the top. Just saying. Spaghetti@meatballs.com. Oogie boogie. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to stop. This is going to keep scrolling because my finger was happy. Not it. We're going to do a summary by phone number is another way to get around that. Summary by first phone. And really all we're looking here for is the blank. This is going to give us a report of all the blank things. We could then, like we learned in the first class, save this report. The lovely person in the front office that's really bored 90% of the time playing on their phone could then go in, pull files, look through the file, go to the carrier, try to locate a phone number. If there's an email, they can send an email saying, hey, we need your phone number. Or worst case, they can send out a letter saying, can you please send us your phone number? All in this report. So we can just look at just what's missing. We can then go back and do a similar thing for the email. So anything that's blank, if we click it twice and move it to the top, not the middle of the screen, it'll pull all of the valid ones to the top. We can scroll through, make sure there's none at none.com, flow at none.com, Fruit Loops at none. I mean, none.com looks really popular, but it should not be popular in your agency. If we don't see one listed under first email, we could click on home email, work email, other email, just keep looking all the way through trying to find a valid email. Or we could do that other trick where we do summary, and then we go to first email, and it creates that lovely report where we can just look for that anomaly. Or if it says 2 or 3 or something next to the number, you might want to investigate. Sometimes commercial clients use the same email on their personal account as they do their commercial. Very valid reason to have the same email twice. The caution is different marketing campaigns or things you're doing, they might get the same email twice. It doesn't always match it, and no, because it's different client IDs, different business name, different factors, that it's sending it to the same email. So the customer might be like, why'd you just send me that twice? But again, running this report, you can quickly find out what is that error going to be. If it says 7, 8, 11, 13, or you end up with weird-looking phone numbers as an email address, click on them, look at them, fix them. And the very last thing that we were going to talk about today, linking profiles to emails and phone numbers. Lord child, that is a whole conversation for another day. Basically, what you're doing or what you're wanting to look for is, do we know whose phone number it is? Is it Tom's cell phone number? Is it Susan's cell phone number? So when we go into a client and we look, like here we have Ashley and Sophia. When we look, there's no names next to any of the phone numbers. So whose cell phone is this? Is it Ashley's or is it Sophia's? Well, if we know, we can go in, change the client. Here, there's nothing listed. We can click on the first one. And I know, because Sophia's my best friend, that's Sophia's cell phone number. I can now link it to her profile, and it'll put her name next to it. So we now know that's Sophia's email. The same thing, other phone. I hate other phone. I always worry, like, what does other mean? Like, it is your ex-boyfriend's baby mama that gonna pay the bill? I don't know. Pager? Pager. For real, yo. We still got pager up in here. Beat me. So if anybody needs any assistance, you can page me. Make sure you put a 911 and my turquoise Motorola will vibrate and I'll give you a shout from the payphone at the Walmart. Just... I mean, some doctors have pagers still. I don't. Anyways, sorry, I forgot that just cracked me up. I forgot that was still in there. What? I just figured it was a. Oh, look, Ashley still don't have a last name. Oh well, she's linked. But any client you go into, you can quickly tell if it's linked or not. There's also directions in here to tell you how to run the specific report to find out who is and isn't linked, and it makes it much quicker to link those. So we have 1 minute left. Do we have any last minute questions before we all run to the front for prizes and then move on to our next course? No? All right, I'm going to finish this. We're going to click OK, then we're going to click done, and then OK, then done, and then OK again. Ooh, it is 3 o'clock on the dot. Look at that. And we are going to finish with, don't forget to freshen your indexes. Freshen them, freshen them, freshen them. And in your guides is important dates in HawkSoft. We will talk about this tomorrow. I think it's really important to review. Effective date, expiration date, inception date, sold date, and status date. So we will review all of that tomorrow. Thank you for coming, and what do I have to tell you? Go visit them dang vendors out there. They sad and lonely, just like the HawkSoft tech support that's waiting for you to come and talk to them. Because without them, you would have had to pay about $3,972 to attend this $395 seminar, or however much it was. I don't even think it was $400. I think it was $300. But it would have been 10 times that price without these lovely vendors. So please visit. Thank you, guys. If you have any questions, reach out. All social media, Diva of Insurance, or Stephen with a PH at divaofinsurance.com or crossinsuranceagency.com. Or I'll be wandering around all evening, and I'm happy to talk about data because I'm very nerdy like that. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow if you come for parts 3 and 4, or I will see you sometime in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.